coming up. Let's see who we have next. We have Tia and BJ Davis. You got their?
I do.
All right. Read their bio.
I am ready to read their bio, and this is about finance. So how many you know finances? Woo! Sometimes them finances can get interesting, especially when you're dealing with two. You know, we've been married for 18 years, so we grew up. You know, but what if you're a person? Stephanie mentioned how she got married at 39. Mm-hmm. She knew how she liked her finances. Not liked it. She knew how she liked her finances and how they operated.
She operated her finances on her own, and then now you have another person putting the whole spin on the whole operation because you have two people, individual people with different individual finance habits come together trying to make everything work out.
To make that household work. So yes. So we all know, and as we said, what works in one household might not work in that, but we can always learn something from somebody. So I feel like these two are very beneficial to help us. So we have BJ and Tia Davis have been married for 13 years. BJ is a fraud and claims operations manager at Wells Fargo. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of the District of Columbia and an MBA from the University of Maryland. Tia is a Workday consultant for Allied Solutions. She has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Howard University and an MBA from the University of Maryland. They have 2 children, so they got some good some degrees out there. They're going to help us and talk to us today and school us on finances.
All right, so Tia and BJ,
we're turning over to you.
You guys go.
Hi, can you guys hear us good?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so we're going to talk about finances and from the marriage perspective. So we've been married for 13 years, as Tia mentioned. And for us, I know, like Tia was just kind of saying, when you first get married and you're combining 2 finances together and you're used to just being by yourself, like it's kind of challenging. So I would say in the first couple of years of marriage, it was kind of tough, like trying to figure out how are we going to combine our 2 finances together? How are we going to handle things? Okay, at first we're like, okay, well, I'll just keep paying for what I normally pay for and you pay for what you normally pay for. And then, see how that works. But for us, we learned that doesn't work. It's better to be together. So what we decided is that for us, since we're one and we decided to be married, let's put our finances together. So we take our money, we put it together, and that way I always tell him we can get further ahead together if we do this together. So we pay all of our bills together. We put all our money in one budget, and then we take that money, allocate it for bills, and then what's left over, then we use that for extra things and we save. And then we also make sure that we tithe, and then we also take our money and make sure that we handle the bills. And then we also allow ourselves allowances. So I'll have an allowance of money, certain amount of money for the month, and so does he. And with that money, you can do what you want to do with it, and I can do what I want to do with it. And then I don't care. It doesn't matter what you're doing with it. It's kind of like your play money. So that's definitely been the first thing that we kind of learned when we first got married. Definitely communicating about your finances, setting a goal for what you guys want. When we got married, we knew we wanted to buy a house. So we started working towards that. Okay, how can we do that? What do we need to pay off? What bills do you have? What bills do I have? What do we have together? How can we pay these off working together to accomplish that goal, and setting those goals and working towards them? So I don't know, PJ.
Oh, that's a great start, baby. How you guys? Yes, but I want to go straight from the beginning. All right. And first, I want to say thank you to you and Charles for giving us this platform to discuss some of the things for my personal marriage, and maybe can assist other people in their marriages as well. And that was a great commentator from Parrish and Steph. I wish I would have learned about mental health like that way in the beginning. But I'm gonna go back and utilize some of the resources you guys gave. first and foremost, I want to say that none of this was easy. I don't want anyone to think that getting into a marriage and combining finances, oh, it's going to be an easy thing. It's not easy at all. We come from two different backgrounds. I'm from Harlem, New York. She's from Sumter, South Carolina. Households are different. She had, to me, in my personal opinion, she had a more organized, stable family, both mother and father. I didn't have that type of structure. Needless to say, I still, made it a little bit further in life. But what I really want to say is that the finances on how to be a steward of financing was not in my, knowledge as a resource. So I had to, learn that from education and things like that. But even when you combine it in a marriage, our perspectives on how we become a steward of our finances were totally different. Now, we had the same objective, the same goals, but the approach was totally different, okay? And I think my way was the right way. She thinks her way is the right way because how she grew up and so forth. So communication is definitely key. It's not going to happen overnight. We definitely have to come to an understanding to say, okay, all right, what's been working for me hasn't been working all that good. What's been working for you hasn't been working that good. We clashing on a lot of issues, a lot of things. Let's communicate. And we had to come to that point and put God into our life with that type of conversation. But once we came together and started communicating on certain things and not hide things, because I had a big problem hiding things, that I wanted to do, because I feel like she's not going to be, on top of what I want to do and things like that. And when she wants to do her spending and things like that. So communication was really, really big. And then budgeting. And that's the next point I want to get to is budgeting. What do you think about how budgeting?
I think that you just have to sit down and talk about, okay, this is what we want to pay. These are the bills. And then this is what, say, for example, you have a goal, you want to buy a house or a car or something. Okay, how are we going to get to that? How much money do we need to save to accomplish that? So just really laying it all out and communicating about it. That's the biggest thing. And again, working together. I really feel like for us, we've been able to accomplish the goals that we had by putting our money together. It's just so much better when you work together versus, okay, this is my money, this is your money, and I'm gonna hold on to mine. I'll just pay this bill over here. You pay that bill over there. You get so much further by putting it together and working together financially and as a couple.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, that's a good point here. Definitely, when dealing with finances in a marriage, in my opinion, I feel strongly about this, is that if, we budget for certain things that we want, no matter how long it takes us to get to that goal or that purchase, because I always make fun of T. I say, Dad, T, you're cheap or you're frugal. Let's go ahead and get this now. And then I see that a month or two later, wherever we wanted to purchase dropped significantly for whatever reason. And I'm like, okay, I see why she says let's budget for it. And then, you never know what can happen for big purchases and things like that, or investing and things like that. And I want to get to that later on investing as well. But I think that going in any type of financing or within a marriage, look for any type of financial advisor, a personal banker, or someone you could talk with as well. Just like for marriages, having a marriage counselor to kind of buffer in and chime in and to assist with, so you guys will have a different perspective, a third-party perspective. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely do think that helps. Being able to have someone that can help you like set your goals and work towards them. And then also educating yourself. Like we've done a lot of that. Like he wanted to get into investments. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But what's your plan? How's that going to happen? How are you going to make it happen? What tools are you going to use? So he researched it and he came back to me and said, okay, we should do this and do that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So even if you can't go or afford to find a financial investor or a personal banker, at least educating yourself. There's so many resources on the internet. All you have to do is Google it and it'll come up. Just do the research for yourself. Even talk to friends, other people, ask them what they're doing, you know, so that you can get ideas and they can, you know, you learn more. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, and I work at a bank, and I still look for resources within the bank. When I'm trying to, you know, even purchase a house, I got some good resources on, you know, what should I do to purchase the right? And then I take that back home to my wife and communicate that to her. And she said, oh, let's look into this and things like that. So I think, you know, with budgeting, communicating within, you know, between the two of us and the third party always helps within your marriage when it comes to finances.
This is some amazing. One day y'all gonna have to give us a whole financial.
Oh, I have a lot more to talk about. But, Tia keeping me.
I know.
Okay.
She know how to will you in, and Charles knows how to will me in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a Gemini. You know.
This is some good information, you guys. Okay, so, and Charles will be right back. He stepped out. Real quick, he's right here. But
and I do have, not to cut you off, Tia, and I do have later on, if anyone needs some additional resources, personal bankers, financial advisors, I have a lot of contacts that I trust as well if anyone is interested. Okay.
Okay. And he a resume guy. He can get your resume together.
Oh, I do resumes. Oh, man.
So I mean, as y'all see it, just a very sweet couple. I knew they would be great for this because guess what? Y'all said some key things. First of all, y'all said together a lot of times, and talking about it together. You know, our theme is stronger together than apart. So and that's what you showed, and that's what helped you get through your financial things together, was working together.
Yeah, but we struggled with that, Tia. Because like I said, we grew up kind of differently. So our trust factors were different.
Yes.
So we learned to trust each other first. And people think when you're married, yeah, you trust each other. No, you still have to work through certain trust even when you're married.
That's good, and that's true. I know trust, that for me, trust was hard. My husband had to tell me the other day, like, I got this. I said, but I don't know how. Like, I want to know how. He said, don't worry about it. I got it. And I said, oh my God, how many times does God tell us that and we don't listen? That's what he been wanting to tell us. Don't worry about it. I got it. And so, but the trust factor is the key. And so, and that was amazing. Y'all mentioned God. Y'all mentioned tithing. Like, there was I feel like there was some very strong keys that y'all mentioned because because God helped y'all get through it and get to where you are now, you know. And so, and I know y'all personally, and y'all good. Budgeting is really key, and I think the key with a budget is to stick to the budget.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to I get a little mad at that budget. And then I have a question though. So like it would be a question. So when people are making a budget, should they just go off the top of their head, or should they wait and see how like a month of spending goes? So for instance, like as y'all see, y'all know us personally, y'all know we have 4 boys. So there was a transition between when they were in school and when they were at home. So that budget for those groceries looks differently now. So, and you see people who might budget for gas, would they go off of their mind, or is there a better way for them to come up with that budget, do you think?
So since I'm an analyst, I like to use Excel. And so another good thing that I was telling him the other day that I use that I think is really helpful, we bank with Bank of America, and they started this thing when I open up the app to look at our account, it tells you your categories that you're spending, and you can create categories. So you can like use that to put into Excel, like, okay, in entertainment, like it'll tell you, in entertainment, you spend this much money. In groceries, you spent this much money. And like you're saying, now with the kids being home all the time, you see like, oh gosh, I've been buying way more grocery. So then if you put that in Excel, formulas. You can add and subtract and, add it up. So you can use that to kind of help you manipulate the the amounts to see, okay, now that I'm spending more on groceries, where do I want to cut? Maybe I'm going to cut in entertainment because we're not going nowhere. We're not going to the movies. Right. We're not going out to dinner as much, so cut back on that. So you can use tools like that. Definitely Excel, your bank, like I said, Bank of America, I know they do that. And that's a good way to help you like manage and track and see what you're spending your money. I told him that too. Like we started seeing like, wait a minute, we're spending so much money on this, this, and this. Like, whoa, why are we spending all this money on this? We need to cut back like that. We're not sticking to the budget. Like this is out of control. So you need to cut back on that. And also too, finding ways to cut costs. We started looking at ways to like cut our cable bill, cut our, different things to see our cell phone. Like, okay, what can we do to like not spend so much money on these things? Because especially now with things that are going on, you want to have some money in the bank in case something happens. You just never know. You might lose your job or you might have to take a furlough or anything. So you want to be prepared to be able to weather the storms. So.
Yeah, and let's piggyback on that. And we got the cutting the cable. We owe that to you guys. And I was listening, Charles.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know at the end of the month, like all the money that you're spending.
Yeah.
Tracking it, and we haven't been tracking it for a while. And then when stuff hits the fan, you're like, dang, where all that money going? We look at it school, and he's like, a move on theater and going out. If it's almost $1,000 a month, I'm like, So you really have to take it into consideration and be cognizant of what you're spending. And if you tend to buy purchase big ticket items, a home, another home, a vehicle, the things of that nature, you have to budget for those things nowadays.
Budget for it.
And the biggest thing, I think, always pay your mortgage first.
That's a good one because you
gotta have somewhere to live.
The essentials you have to pay off first.
You gotta have a house.
And that's
put that on auto draft.
And actually, I'm not gonna hold y'all much longer. Just real quick, how often should somebody go back and revisit that budget?
Look, I look at it a lot. I think it depends on how good you are with budgeting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sometimes I'm like, I look at it as much as I look at my account because
you touched on it.
How are we spending? But I would definitely say monthly, but I mean, I think even bi-weekly is really good.
I heard you mention it. I'm sorry, I had to step out, I had a call. But you touched on it earlier about doing an Excel spreadsheet. If you actually just Google search budget sheets in Excel, you can actually download, there's templates that you can download, and that's actually what we use. And we go over our budget, not enough as we should, but we do. So that's how we actually plan for our various things coming up.
And then I do have a question. How do you manage trying to get out of debt? What are some suggestions?
So I think a suggestion for getting out of debt. So before we bought our first house, like we really said, okay, in order to buy this house, like we got to get our credit score up. So we got to try to pay off these bills. So we literally was eating like poor people. You know what I mean? Like trying not to eat out. Yeah. Being at home, cutting back, not really going out as much with friends. Like you just have to, for things that you want, you have to make sacrifices. So if that sacrifice means, okay, I'm trying to get out of debt, let me sacrifice, let me cut back on things. And again, that goes back to budgeting to see where you can trim down on things. Okay, maybe I don't need all this cable. Maybe I don't need this big, huge cell phone plan. So cut back on things to help, then take that extra money, the difference, and put that towards your debts.
And that's a great point. And from a marriage perspective, remember, when you become that union, you're bringing both assets and debts.
That's a good point.
Assets and debts.
So we had to focus on each individual debt and how we're going to trim that down together.
That's true.
Via student loans or credit cards, things like that. Because now I can't say that's your bill, that's your debt. That's our debt.
Student loans.
So and my loans, vice versa. So we had to focus on that. I said what's the biggest bill that we have together? I don't care if it's one of our debts. Let's focus on that. Let's get that out the way. If it takes us a year, get that down. Let's start with that. So working together on our biggest debts.
Down the list.
And then we down the list. And I don't care how long it takes you, but you have to start somewhere. You can't just
start somewhere. That is a good one. And then this is one somebody asked another question. I was taught as a woman you need to keep a separate account in case things go left. Is that something you should do, or should everything
That's
go
a good
to
question.
a joint account?
That's a real good question, and I'm not gonna. We're gonna be very transparent with this answer. Okay.
Okay.
I do think, like I was saying, like we put our money together to pay all of our bills, and then whatever we have, after our bills are paid off, right? The difference, we also give ourselves an allowance. So I think that you could communicate and say, okay, this is our allowance, for example, whatever amount a month or paycheck that you have. And then that person, so my allowance, I might be taking it and stashing it. And he might be taking his allowance and spending it. So one way you can kind of
I love it. So you're doing what you need to do with your money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that you take care of your household first, and then whatever you do have left over, you should give yourselves an allowance, because you are still a human. You are still an individual. So if he wants to go out and buy a PlayStation game, and I might want to go buy me a necklace, like I can do that. Or I might want to save my money for a rainy day. So
but we will communicate when we go making that purchase.
We put that in the budget. Here's your allowance. Here's my allowance.
That's a good one, and maybe we'll even push that down towards wise counsel for people to seek down the line. Because of course, you have to use. Nobody go. We don't want to say we're going into marriage thinking something's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, we realize but that was a good question, and that's what we're here for, to be transparent. Right before we close out, I just want to say, you guys will be back later with the panelists. What if you have a spouse? So one spouse might control the money. What if you have a spouse that they control the money, but the other spouse feels like they don't like that, and they're trying to figure out. So this is going more towards communication. So because I'm having everybody touch on that. So what's a good way to communicate with their spouse, maybe, or try to communicate that they might want to see something different? Any suggestions on that? Like they might want to have some input on it.
Well, like I said, transparency, right?
Yep.
And with communication, I did have a problem. My wife is an analyst, and when it comes to finances and the whole budgeting, she is a little bit more aggressive and controlling on that. But a lot of because of personal experiences, I didn't make great choices. And so, I kind of levy that off. I say, okay, then you can do this. So I don't have no problem with her being controlling over the finance and things like that. But when I want something, and I have a goal or a plan of action of how I'm going to get something, then she's like, okay, well, then within the budget, go ahead, you do what you want to do. But yeah, you're right. You have to communicate that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Communication. And then I think too, also one thing I think in a marriage, you have to look at each other's strong points. So don't look at it as control. Look at it as like, since I'm an analyst, I'm better with Excel. I like putting numbers in Excel and calculating them. That's not something he's really interested in. He'd rather write a resume. So that's my strong point. So it's not control, it's just that's what I'm better at. One person might be better at finance, the other person might be better at something else. So don't always look at it as control. That's how marriage is. One person might be better at cleaning, the other person might
utilize
not.
strong points of each individual.
Yeah, but work together to accomplish your goals.
Yeah, I like that.
That is good. BJ, could you put your information in the chat, either on Zoom or Facebook? Because somebody said, you said you had information, so so they can figure out how to get in touch. Okay. Whatever email or whatever you're comfortable with. Okay.
Yeah, I give you my work email. That's fine.
There you go, and then put it in the chat or something, because somebody wanted to know how to maybe get in touch. You said you had some additional information for financial advisors or something.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I said, we'll do a marriage money matters down the line.
That'd be awesome.
That'll be right on BJ y'all family. Thank you. Don't go too far because we'll be bringing y'all back. We appreciate you all.
All right, thank you guys.